Hello and welcome to day 4 of Get Your Money Shit Together. Today we're going to talk all about counting your assets. Now, a lot of times I get people who see this one, this is the part I don't like. I get it. This is not the fun part. This is where you have to count and see what you have. I want to change your thinking on that. First of all, let me help you understand that assets are those items in your life that contribute to your value. So that can mean something that creates and generates income in your life, such as if you have a car and you drive for Uber, your car is an asset because it's helping you create income in your life. If you have a house and you're just using it as your home to enjoy, which is awesome, a lot of times we'll include that on a list of assets. That's the accounting way of understanding assets. So you got to understand that there's two parts to this. There's the accounting way, and then there's the living way. And I'm going to teach you more the living way for counting your assets, because at the end of the day, you can have an accountant, you can do all this math, you can do the things, and it gives you a number, but what does it mean and how does it contribute to your life? That's what I want you to be clear on. So we're going to talk a little bit about what to include, what not to include, and most importantly, how do you use this list of assets to enhance the way life is for you in general and across the board. So I wanted to start today with a little bit of a text from a scripture that came to mind as I started to dig into what are the assets that I want you to count? What are the things I want you to be connected with and be about? So the scripture comes from, let's see, I don't know, because I don't know my Bible like I used to. It's the parable of 10 virgins, and it looks like it came from the Gospel of Matthew. For the Bible people out there, my apologies for butchering this, but the stories in the Bible are so powerful and so good. So regardless of what you believe, there's so much juice in the parables and the stories. And I really wanted to bring this one forward because it's so fitting today for where we are in counting the assets. And it's, again, in Matthew, I already forgot I'm going to tell you guys again, Matthew chapter 25. And this section is the first few verses of that. And it reads, in the parable of 10 virgins, Jesus tells a story about, that's not the scripture, that's the story. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. So we're talking about the kingdom of heaven here in the metaphor. I want you to think about heaven, like your heaven, what you're looking for, the visions. As we go through the 30 days, you're going to come to a place where you start to craft your vision of the life you want. That's your kingdom of heaven in this particular case. So then the kingdom of heaven, your vision, your life, the way you want it, will be like unto 10 virgins who took lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. Do you want to be foolish or do you want to be wise? And it's easy to do both, right? It's just a choice. It's just being aware. Those who were foolish, when they took their lamps, took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. Okay, so the foolish, they took the lamps, but no oil. They had just the oil in the lamp. The wise, they took lamps and extra oil. So it's like being prepared, right? Ready for that refill. So then we have, now while the bridegroom delayed, they all slumbered and slept. So they thought they were going for a journey. It turns out it was delayed. So I just really want to break down this because there's a lot of value in this. Doesn't it sound like life? I thought I was going, but it was delayed. So the bridegroom delayed, and they were sleeping and their lamps burning and waiting. But at midnight, there was a cry, behold, the bridegroom is coming. Come out and meet him. So this is saying all of a sudden the moment is there. The moment draws nigh. It is time. The moment has arrived. Your moment is here. It is time. Everything you've been working for, preparing for, great, living and learning and grooming yourself for. It's time. And so then all the virgins arose. So here comes everybody. The moment is here. We're in a season in life where opportunity is here. The moment is here. So all the virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. The foolish said to the wise, hey, give us some. It actually doesn't say hey. Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, what if there isn't enough for us and you? You go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. So I want you to understand this. It's not someone else's responsibility to carry your oil. That's not going to land too well with some of you, but that's okay. I'm here to love you through the hard times and love you with tough love sometimes. No one else is carrying your oil but you, honey. It's you. Your job, your goal, your dream to meet that kingdom of heaven, your dream to go be part of that and meet the bridegroom, your dream. No one else is sitting around dreaming your dream. So no one else could possibly be prepared to carry your oil. You are that oil. So you're preparing yourself, you're preparing your life, you're preparing for this moment of opportunity. Oprah often says that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. This is opportunity. And these foolish virgins went after the opportunity, expecting the opportunity to provide for them. The wise virgins, they went to the opportunity, but they were expecting that they must be prepared. They must take care of themselves and get themselves in position so they can have this experience. And so when the foolish come and they say, hey, give us of yours, this is not about the wise being mean, right? Is someone mean because they went to do the work and then didn't just give it to you? It's often, I'll pause here, because it's often in our human nature to think. And you guys, I have been there. There was a day in my life, it actually is a very annoying space for me now because I know what it feels like to feel it on the other side. And I've also been on the side of wealth, and I've been around a lot of people with massive wealth. And there is a thinking around the, let's say the unlearned population. And if you're there, that's okay. It's where you are. Let me show you today. There's a thinking, a general thought, and I've heard it said over and over and over by others. Well, they're rich. They can afford it. So it's like, okay, it's okay to take advantage of someone because they've amassed riches, because they brought their oil, because they did the work and had their oil. It's okay for us to take their oil, and maybe they don't have enough now, but that's too bad. They should take care of us because they have it. That's not how it works, honey. You got to bring your own oil. Got to bring that own oil. And when you begin to bring your oil to the party, now you can get in. Now you see the kingdom of heaven. Now you see the bridegroom. It is your turn because you were prepared. You're not lucky. You were prepared for this moment. So I invite you to just take a moment. If you've ever found yourself sitting in that space of, well, someone else should have taken care of this for me, I'm going to love you, honey. I'm going to love you all the way through it. And then I'm going to ask you to get your own money shit together, to stop waiting for someone else because they're not coming. And when they come, they're not going to have oil for you. So let's do it. Okay? All right. So the foolish come, they say, hey, give us your oil. The wise is like, sorry, we only brought oil for ourselves. So go buy. So they do want to be remember, they're wise. They're not unkind. So they say, go buy it, right? Go to the place where they buy it. So they say, you go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. Hey, I have a solution for you. Go buy some. So then the foolish go off and they're going to buy it. While they went away to buy, the bridegroom came. And those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. The game is over. So because they needed to run away and get the oil, they missed the opportunity. Being prepared, understanding what you have, making sure you know it and have it with you and can use it and be part of it and engage when the moment comes. That's why we're doing this. I want you to understand that this money journey for me is, I mean, honestly, 20 some years, this is stuff I can do in my sleep, guys. This is not that fun for me to talk about money anymore. I want to talk about the deep work. I want to talk about the inner work. I want to talk about how do we go where we're going to go and how do we go into the life that we're called into. And yet, some of us are still over here counting our coins, trying to see if we have enough to go. And I want to just get you ready, honey. I just want to get you ready, get you in the door, get you with your oils full so that your lamp is ready. And when your opportunity comes, there is no confusion about what you have or don't have, or do you need to go get something else? You're ready. You can say yes, you can participate and go after it. And so I'm in an opportunity right now in my life where I gathered up some oil. I gathered up some oil and I stored it away and I put it in a place where it's safe and growing. And that oil is now part of my lamp. And so my opportunity maybe hasn't life is a giant opportunity and every day we're doing something. And I heard a message this week about the small things. Don't forget to pay attention to the little things. Like it's being excellent in the small things that makes us excellent in the big. And at the same time, we don't want to be wandering around, like we want to be excellent in the small things, but we don't want to be wandering around thinking about small things and always trying to fix the small things so that we don't get the power and the energy and the flow for big things. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what that means for your assets. So we're going to prepare our assets today. We're going to understand, count, and know what we have. Be ready, be prepared that when that bridegroom comes, when our kingdom of heaven, our vision is drawing nigh, and it's time to enter to that vision, that dream, that story, that we can take the assets that we have collected and we know that they can get us there. So let's talk a little bit about what is an asset. An asset is something that offers value to your life. So there are only two ways an asset really adds value. It does one of two things. It creates an income. We talked about that in the intro. So in some way, it generates income for you. The reason a company will buy a piece of equipment is because it generates income in some way. Some things are more expense-based. So they are expenses that we take on, like printing, for example. Printing doesn't really provide a new asset. The asset is in digital form. You've created the content, but the printing of it allows the delivery of that asset. See how that might be? So you might print and deliver that asset to others. That's your means. But we want to talk about the actual asset. What's really adding value? Because the printing is a cost. And I mentioned in the beginning about a house being more cost than asset. Here's how that works. If your home is specifically and only your home, you're not using it to work, you're not using it to have gatherings. Again, we're talking about the flow of money here. There's so much more value. Maybe you're having gatherings with friends and that is everything you ever wanted. It's adding value to your life. So pay attention to that because some things are going to add value to your life, but not necessarily add value to your pocketbook. Some things are going to add value to your money, but not necessarily feel at the moment that they're adding a lot of value to your life. Now, the more you add value to your pocketbook, the more you have the opportunity for value later. But we'll talk about how you use the money and whether it's really serving you in the next couple of days. So let's talk about the assets themselves. Your home is an asset if it is generating money for you. So let's say that you are you're hosting gatherings and everybody who comes pays $10. That's a gathering where it's hosting money. So in some ways, that home is providing a way for revenue for you. So that's a way to have an asset. The other is perhaps your home is appreciating in value. Right now, if you had purchased in Miami a year ago, you have drastically appreciated the value of that home because with COVID, everybody's coming to Florida where you can be outside and be out in the open, and where, just there's not so much containment, but more openness. And so that has increased the value of homes in Florida. So we understand that there's an appreciation of value. Now I want to tap into that word. Two things we're looking for here. And as you go through the lessons today, which will ask you to, it'll give several prompts for you to list the things that you have in possession already that are assets. I'm going to ask you to list the things that are assets in value in accounting terms. So houses, cars, computers, those types of things. But this particular one is also going to ask you to dig a little deeper. What are the assets that you have in your life? Who are the friendships and the networks and the relationships? What about your education? These are things that don't show value on an asset form for accounting purposes, but bring value that you've collected and they actually add. In fact, if you were to look at my actual value right now, and if I were to lay it all out in front of you, you're going to find that I have some assets, some physical, tangible assets with monetary value. I have many, 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 many more assets that have no particular monetary value at this moment. My networks of friends and people I love and people who love me back, friendships all over the world, places to go and stay with friends in various countries all over the place, connections, people I could pick up on the phone and call, my own value inwardly and how I feel when I wake up in the morning ready to take on the next day. My attitude and somehow I naturally, thanks Dad, I'm pretty sure, thank you Dad for this. I naturally go immediately within seconds of getting any kind of not serving information or something I don't want to hear, within seconds most of the time, and for sure within the day, I'm going to be reversing that, twisting it, and finding a way to make it work for me rather than being the victim of it. That is an asset because, wow, think about the life that I would be living. Y'all, life be like crystal sometimes. I think it's because I can handle it. But, there are days when life's like, you thought so, bam. Oh, bam, bam, unwire down, bam, bam, bam. And that's okay because that will happen to us. That's life. And my attitude and the ability to crawl back out of that, to get good again, to find a way to make that be a bonus to me. I can't control it. I can't change those things sometimes. So why not learn how to roll with it? And that is an asset. So I'm going to be breaking that down for you. And in the activity sheets today, you're going to do the financial piece, which is going to get you all of the details, all of those monetary parts, all of the money stuff. And then I'm going to take you over into the assets of your life. And that brings me to the word appreciate. So you probably understand what it means to generate income. If you have something that causes money to come to you, that's an asset that generates income. But let's talk about this value of appreciation. In financial terms, in accounting terms, assets appreciating means that it was worth X number of dollars and now it's worth X number of dollars, which is more than it was before. So when an asset appreciates, meaning it grows in value, such as a house can do that. It's really, by the way, your house itself is technically depreciating because things are getting old, right? They're no longer a new build. Eventually you're going to have to replace that refrigerator, the roof, the paint the side of the house or whatever, or clean the brick, so whatever you do with your home. Technically, the home itself is always depreciating. It's lowering in value. It's the land and the space that you have that actually appreciates in value. So just quick distinction, not necessarily as relevant right now in our conversation, but I want you to understand that distinction because that's going to help you understand the distinction in many areas in your life, such as, is this appreciating? AKA my land, my home value is appreciating, but why is it appreciating? Oh, it's appreciating because it's here in Miami. I can't take that same home and put it in Ohio and get the same money. In fact, I often look around as we're going along the bay and I think, wow, if I had my house from Ohio here in Miami in this location, it would be a multi-million-dollar home. So understand that it was about a $200,000 home in Ohio. It would be more than $2 million here in the locations that I like. So understand the value and where the value actually comes from in those assets. Is it coming from the thing itself, or where it is, or its placement? Maybe you have a trademark or a patent on something, and that patent isn't really bringing you any money. So it's an asset, but it's not generating anything because it hasn't been put in place. You haven't put it into placement, got it into action working. And so we're not judging today. We're simply looking. What do I have? And you're going to list what you have. You're going to list what adds value to you. You're going to list the things that perhaps you're even working on building. I'm going to have a little section where you think about what are the assets you wish you had or need to carry on with your plan. Now, you'll notice that some of these components, they're going to be working documents. So you might start with your list of assets. Now you have your working document of that. 6 months from now, something might change. You can go back, make the change on your form. It's going to automatically upgrade. So you're going to notice with this lesson, you're going to start seeing an Excel spreadsheet that's going to have all of the components of that. And that one spreadsheet will start to carry you throughout. It's actually a Google Sheet. And so it's a locked sheet. You'll actually bring it down, copy it, make your own copy, and then you can work from that. That way, if you ever mess up, you can go back to the original and pull it again. But there are formulas and details and things that are going to automatically populate for you in these. I am making instructional videos for any of them that use the formulas, so you'll know how they work. Separate from this connection with us live, I really want to connect you with the message and why we're going in and what the activity is about and what we're doing. And then I'll have instructional videos. Some of you are going to dive right into the work and need no help at all. And some of you are going to say, I need more help. I need more help. Absolutely. Reach out if you don't see everything you need provided to make this whole 30-day challenge a success for you. And use those templates because they're really going to help you. Change them, make them your own, play with them. If you already have a way or a system and you want to combine, absolutely do it. Okay, so the assets for today, what I really want you to bring home with this lesson, and we're, lucky us, we're actually finishing this up in just under 30 minutes today. I really want you to take a moment and consider what are the things that I have in my life that are bringing value. And you're going to do that from an accounting perspective to get your actual numbers. By the way, those accounting numbers are the ones you would take to the bank if you wanted to borrow some money. You would take them to an investor if you were looking for someone to invest in a project or product that you're doing, if they needed to validate your own resources. And it's a very similar process that you would use if you had a project that you wanted to pitch to investors. You can still use these templates to put in the different kinds of numbers. So these are designed to help be working and growing documents with you. That's why I'm making them and made them as Google Sheets so that you're able to process and use them. And I really believe that this is going to make a big difference for you. Let's address the final elephant in the room. Some of you are going to want to skip this part. Oh, I just want to get all the stuff, the feel goods of the money. And this is a really good lesson for me, but I'm just going to I know what I have. I don't, or you'll make the mistake of saying, I don't have any assets. And so you won't even do this exercise. But I'm telling you, do the exercise. It's so worth it. And man, this is so much better than fitness, guys. You don't have to do this every day. You only have to do it once in a while to get the impact. Fitness, like every single day almost, you got to be doing something to get those results. You guys are going to start seeing my arms. They got a long way to go, but these arms are going to be improving. Why? Because it's a daily work. Here, assets are great. You do them once in a while. You do them when it matters. You do them when something changes or maybe annually. You don't have to do this every day. So this is one that's really worth you sticking it out, doing the work, finding out where you stand. And you're going to get a lot of value out of the accounting piece of that, of how to actually track the numbers of what you have. There is a liability portion on that. We haven't talked about debt yet, but we will. You'll notice that's there. If you feel so inclined and you kind of get what to do, you can go ahead and start that as well. But we will get to that as well later on. So you can build on them as we go. And the other piece of that. So first of all, you're going to have the asset piece, but more importantly, let's talk about the value of the assets that we do not count. When you start to sit down and you acknowledge the friendships and relationships in your life and the value they have, when you sit down and acknowledge the education that you have, it doesn't matter how far you went. If it's just high school, you have a high school education. Yo, that's pretty good. Like, some people in the world don't have that. So write it down. Don't judge yourself for not having college. Give yourself credit for having high school. This day is not about what you don't have. It's about what you do. So what do you have? Okay, I have a high school education. Awesome. Write it down. All right, awesome. I have a guitar. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I can't play it yet, but I have a guitar. I'm practicing, I'm learning. That's something that's valuable to me. When I play my guitar, I feel good about having done so. So that's adding value. So that one, I really want you to spend some time in the non-accounting part of this asset piece, because what's going to happen, you're going to start to notice you have a lot more than you think. You're going to draw attention to what you do have. We call it appreciate, right? When we appreciate or bring blessings and value and honor to what we have, it appreciates, grows in value. So appreciate what you have so that it can appreciate. And then you start to notice that by simply acknowledging this journey you're on, the place you're in, and where you're going with it, what beauty. And then to know that you've done way more than you think, because you start to consider the assets that accountants wouldn't call assets. And you realize that, man, you're building a pretty freaking awesome life. And that feels good, doesn't it? To have an awesome life here in front of you right now, being part of your journey. How delicious that is. Thank you for tuning in today. I promised you under 30 minutes. We're going to make it just in that. There will be a separate instructional video posted with your sheets and how to use the sheets to calculate and hang on to these, because we're going to keep using them throughout the rest of this challenge. Thank you so much for joining in. I will see you live next time. Enjoy your day and count your blessings.